Welcome to the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. This is episode 9, Aeon's End. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
If you're an ongoing listener to The Longest Turn, you'll notice that we are Tysonless in this episode.
Finally.
Well, I mean, Tyson's got his own perspective and experiences and knowledge of games. Those are tough.
I'm kidding. We love Tyson, and we can't wait till he gets back.
That's right. He's away out of town.
And our good buddy Ben was nice enough to join us and fill in Tyson's shoes.
Hey guys, it's exciting to be here.
Hey, we're glad you could join us.
We're super excited to have you here. This is awesome.
Thanks.
So Ben, if you don't know, we've talked about him many times before in previous episodes. He's been playing games with us for the last, 3.5 years?
That's right.
What else can you tell us about yourself, Ben?
Well, first of all, I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be able to participate with you guys. I have been playing games with you for 3.5 years, like you said.
When did you start playing games?
Yeah. What's your gaming history? How did you play when you were younger, or
Yeah, so
when did you get into games?
So with the old school games, Monopoly, that kind of thing, I played those with my dad ever since I was a kid. My dad and my brothers, every Sunday we'd play a board game. In college, my good buddy Aaron and his wife KJ introduced me to my first real board game, and that was Ticket to Ride.
Oh, nice.
That's a step
So
up.
that was sort of my first game.
I love Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
And all the different variations. That's one of the first games that I got into, like the modern hobby games.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And it sort of blew my mind on what a board game could be at the time. I loved it. And then soon thereafter, my uncle introduced me to Pandemic, and I was in from there. So
You said
cooperative game?
Wait, hold on a second. You said your first real board game was Ticket to Ride?
that's it.
Well, I thought you played Acquire growing up.
I don't know if that's a real board game.
I see. Yes, I did play Acquire growing up, but I didn't count that because it was so old, I guess.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But it's still in the rotation with my dad every Sunday. So
Nice. That's awesome.
Acquire is?
Yep.
That's
Very nice.
And it's the classic box like what you have, Tyler.
with the cream yellow
Yep.
board that
Just beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
oozing toxic
Absolutely.
chemicals.
It holds up to the production value of Anchor, you know.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. We're glad that you could join us, Ben. We love having you in our group, and we're excited to hear from you tonight, and glad you could be part of this podcast with us and being willing to fill in for Tyson, which, like I said, those are big shoes to fill.
It's a good episode for me to join because Tyson isn't a huge fan of cooperative games, but I happen to love them.
Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is true. He's expressed his distaste for cooperative games many times. So, yeah, we're glad to have you here.
Well, since we don't have to wait for Tyson to get his squeaky chair out of the way, without further ado, we're going to talk about what we've been playing lately. Kevin, would you like to kick that off?
I do. So, a game I've been playing recently as yesterday, is a game called Number 9. And it's spelled NMBR 9. Number 9. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of a weird name. This one's designed by Peter Witchman and is published by Abacus Spiel. Artist is Fiore Gumb. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing that. I'm not pronouncing that right at all. So this game, it's a really simple game. You have numbers from 0 to 9, and they're in various shapes. The goal is to stack these numbers as high as you can, and you get points depending on how you stack those numbers. So the numbers on the bottom are worth nothing. The numbers on the first stack, right above the bottom stack, are worth whatever the value of that number is. So if you place a 9 down, it's worth 9. If you manage to get on the third stack, then you double whatever that number is. So if it's an 8, then you get 16, and it just keeps on going higher and higher. The rules are you have to place a number on top of at least 2 other numbers, and it can't be over a space or a hole. And you have to place that number adjacent to another number that you've already placed. So those are the general rules. You flip over a card from a deck to show which number you're going to place. As soon as you get through that deck, there's 2 of each number, then the game is over, and then you score whatever you were able to get, right? Super simple game. I've played it probably 30 times with my family. What I like about it is super quick to set up. It literally takes 5 seconds. Well, as long as it takes to shuffle the deck and you're ready to go, right? It's interesting to me to see how everybody is different. Everybody has the same card. Everybody uses the same numbers. Vastly different results because people are doing different things. I can't say I'm very good at the game. I think my 14-year-old daughter has beat me more than I've beat her. But it's just awesome. I really enjoy it. Not a super deep game, but I think it's a pretty fun one.
Have you played this one, Ben?
It does sound familiar. As you're explaining it, I think I did play it at your house once.
So I do like you said, people get vastly different results, right? But with the same draws.
Right.
And I think it's similar into railroading that way, that you get the same dice results, and it's so cool to see how different people think and the different end result that they come up with. I've played number 9. You introduced it to me, and that was one of those that I ran home and ordered right away. And
you had remorse?
I've had a little bit of buyer's regret on that one, buyer's remorse on that one, but it is a good family weight game, and it is awesome that you could, pull it out of open it up, shuffle a few cards, and you're ready to go. So,
have you played it at all?
I have played it.
Oh, you have?
Since your house?
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago?
Right.
Yeah. Yes, I have played it a couple times.
Yeah.
I think that is one where the packaging is a little overproduced. I mean, or a little...
I mean,
you could really travel in a Ziploc bag with that thing.
Yeah, but the way it's set up, it's got places for all the numbers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which means you open the lid and you're ready to go, right? I think the packaging's perfect for it.
But for the amount of space that it takes up on the shelf and the return that you get from it, that's debatable.
That's another story.
No, it's a good family weight game.
Well, another reason why I love it is I play games with my brother-in-law over FaceTime. A lot of times on Sunday nights we do that. It's the perfect game to play over FaceTime. He has a copy, we have a copy. You can play as many people. It's like any roll and write game or flip and write.
Yeah.
You can play as many people as there are copies of the game. So it's easy to play virtually through FaceTime. That's another reason why we have so many plays of it. But,
well, and there's not a lot of upkeep with the game, and that's perfect for playing virtually.
Yeah, and sometimes you just want an easy game just to kind of relax and not have a brain burner.
And talk about our journey in this life.
Pontificate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before going back to the Monday grind, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, that's my mistake. I haven't been playing number 9 on Sundays.
But I mean, Acquire is a much more worthy.
But the problem is I can't beat my dad, so.
You have to.
He's very
maybe
good.
I would love to come over and play against your dad.
Okay. He'd love that. He remembers you.
Mono. No, I'm just kidding.
This is why I never will play Acquire with you, Todd.
Why?
Well, you've been playing it for like 80 years.
We'll just pit him against my dad. You and I will place bets, and that'll be our game.
Yeah, that's perfect. Let's
There
do
you
that.
go. I like
We'll get
it.
the popcorn out. It'll be great.
Yeah. He'd love that.
That'd be cool. All right, so that was number 9. Ben, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing a game called Champions of Midgard, which, if you remember, was on Kevin's Shelf of Shame.
It was on my Shelf of Shame.
Oh, it was yours. That's
Yep,
right. It was on Tyler's Shelf of Shame. So we got together and we played that, and I had a great time. To me, it's a bit of an older game, I guess. It's from 2015. It was designed by, I think his name would be pronounced Ole Steinnes. I don't know for sure. I've never heard of him, honestly. And I looked up other things he's done, and I didn't recognize any of them.
He did Meeples and Monsters, I believe, which I recently received.
Oh, okay.
And I talked a little bit about it in a couple episodes ago. But
Has some of the coolest meeples I've ever seen in a game.
yeah,
Pretty awesome.
I am a fan of meeples, so I should check that one out. But the object of the game is you're Vikings in this Viking town, and you're trying to gain glory by defending the harbor town from trolls and Draugr and monsters of different sorts. So it's a pretty typical worker placement game where you have a lot of resource management as well. But what I found interesting about it is that one of your resources, your workers, are actually dice that you can collect and take on adventures with you. So you can choose really what adventure you want to do. You can go fight the troll. You can go sail away and fight the monsters in the sea. You can go collect more resources. So it's kind of a fun go where you need to go. But in addition, I also liked that if no one goes and fights the troll, then everyone is to blame. So somebody has to fight the troll at some point each round, or the whole town blames you all.
Yeah. It's always like, well, I don't want to do it. You go and do it.
Yeah.
You know? There's always that conversation, right?
So we're fighting for honor, yet at the same time, nobody wants to fight the troll. But somebody has to do it.
There is a benefit, though, right? When you do go fight the troll, right?
There is. You get a little bit of money, I think it is, on that one.
And you're like first in turn order.
You fight first if the first battle to be resolved is the troll battle.
Right.
But you also get to assign what are those tokens
If
called?
you do win and you defeat the troll, then you get to get rid of one of your blame tokens and give a blame token to an opponent.
Which are worth negative points at the end of the game, right?
Yep, and they get exponentially worse. So the more blame tokens you have, the more negative you get at the end game scoring. So what I like about it is I thought it was a really fun mechanic to use your dice as workers. And
yeah, that's cool.
They're your warriors, I should say. And you send them off into battle and you roll them against the monster that you're fighting. And if they lose, they get killed. So what makes this game amazing for me is if you add in the Valhalla expansion specifically. There are 2 different expansions, Valhalla and then the Mountains, something or other. And the Valhalla one to me really makes the game sing, I guess, because when your workers die, you can then still use them to buy things in Valhalla.
Which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It takes away some of the sting of losing a warrior because they still get to do something and you still get to use them.
Yeah, without having played without Valhalla, I don't think I'll ever not play with it if it's available.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
For me, anyway.
And luckily, Valhalla was also on my shelf of shame. That is the other. I do have that one expansion. I don't have the other one.
Yeah,
Great.
We were at the game shop, Tyler and I.
Well,
and I'm like
3 years ago.
It was forever ago. And I'm like, hey, Tyler, you should, I've heard this expansion's really good. You should buy it. He's like, okay. This was back in his, he didn't have any control days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think Valhalla's worth it. The only reason to get the Mountains expansion is specifically to add one more player. So that makes it go up to a 5-player count instead of 4.
Okay.
But other than that, it's not necessary for me.
Yeah, we walked into your house on game night to play, and I saw this out on the table. And first of all, it was awesome that you have you got the player mat, which
so cool.
You've got upgraded bits. You had both expansions. Everything went on the player mat or the game board mat. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Added to the experience. When I first walked in, I was like, this kind of looks like Raiders of the North, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Alarms are going off at Tyler's head.
Yeah, the layout. And man, I couldn't have been more wrong about the experience that I had ahead of me once I saw the board and thought it looked like Raiders of the North. I thought this game was absolutely awesome. I loved it. There were moments, especially at the end of the game, I knew I needed to sail away to fight one of the monsters, and I needed to do that to have a chance at winning. But I needed to collect some meat first so that I could sustain my voyage, right? And the anticipation, hoping that the other 3 people at the table wouldn't take that action and sail where I wanted to go. I don't know. It just created a really exciting moment where internally I was like, this is awesome.
You have to keep a poker face.
Yeah, right? And it created so many fun moments. There were asymmetric powers. I forgot to use one of mine partway until almost near the end of the game. I was like, oh.
Flashbacks to Ankh.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I couldn't have been more excited about having this on my shelf, getting it off my shelf of shame, and learning it at your house. And then I found out it was in alpha on Board Game Arena.
Nice.
So I went to send an invite to you guys, but
you were out of invites.
I was out of invites or something like that. So
we're stuck with Great Western Trail.
I took my turn finally.
Oh, good. So anyway, I love the play, and I'm excited to get it back to the table. And dude, it was awesome. Just
good.
All your upgraded bits and everything, and your teach.
I'm glad you had a good time. I've only played it a handful of times, but every time I do, it always is a fun time, and I use it as a game for more beginner players, but it's one step up for them. Mm-hmm. So it sort of pushes them a little bit more into the board game world. and it's always a win.
Yeah, I love dice, and I love games that have dice and games that use the dice as workers. So a game that comes to mind is Trois.
Mm-hmm.
Trois used to be one of my favorite games. It still is up there a ways, but it's kind of fallen just a little bit. But that's the same type of thing where you're rolling the dice. It's a little bit of a different concept, but using those dice to place in other areas as, workers type of thing. I just think it's awesome. The tactile feel of the dice, it's cool. And the theme is awesome. Who doesn't like a Viking theme?
Right.
The workers aren't as exciting in Teo as dice because they just level up every once in a while. You don't really ever get to roll them, but
it's still pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's a cool way to make use of dice.
Yeah.
All right, so one of the games that I've been playing lately is, I've been getting a flood of Kickstarters showing up at my door. It's been kind of awesome, but one of the ones I've been able to play is Dead Reckoning by AEG. And this is a 4X pirate-themed game, and 4X, if you don't know, is explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Well, this is a pirate-themed game designed by John D. Clare. If you've listened to this podcast at all, you know I'm a sucker for Ian O'Toole art, and it looks awesome. I love it. In this game, you're trying to collect as much money as possible. One of the things that I really love about this is it's a card crafting game. So it's a little bit different than deck building, where in a deck building game, you're buying cards and adding them to your hand, and then trying to filter out some of your weaker cards and get rid of them. In Dead Reckoning, all your crew cards are sleeved, and each one of them has a unique ability. And throughout the game, you can acquire new skills that can get added to one of your crew members. So each crew member has 3 slots available for new or upgraded skills that can get added. And how it's done is there's a see-through card that when you acquire the ability, you just slide it in the sleeve and it fills in either the top, middle, or bottom slot of that card. And so then you just made that crew member more powerful. In addition to that, you're also upgrading a character once per round and making them more efficient at their job and what they do and making them more powerful. So card crafting versus deck building, you're cycling through these cards of your crew, you're sailing out, you're plundering from other ships, you're discovering new islands, you're claiming or producing resources on islands that you've claimed. You're trying to maintain control of these islands. You're bringing some of your treasure back to port. It's just a really fun game. I had a little bit of lower expectations. One reason was it's got this big cube tower ship that you put together out of cardboard pieces, and it was kind of a pain to put together. I kind of Neanderthaled it. It looks like it's got a little pirate wear and tear on it.
You forced it?
Dude, I mean, I think some people make a couple of cuts to adjust it a little to make it fit together a little easier.
It doesn't fit together real
well.
I
mean, look, I'm not a finesse guy. I'm a brute force Neanderthal, as my wife likes to say.
You hulked it, right?
Yeah, I totally hulked it.
And just force it in.
So the ship, there's a couple spots where it's like, oh, they've taken a cannonball there. Or,
But it adds to the theme.
It is. But honestly, like, setting this ship up, I was like, is this going to be kind of lame? Like, are the cubes going to spread far enough?
Is it like gimmicky type of thing?
Yeah. Is it going to be gimmicky? I couldn't have been more wrong. It was awesome. Like, cool. Drop it. Whatever cubes are involved in the battle get added all at once. You drop them in, and whether you're fighting a merchant or another player in the game, they drop out, and some of them land in spaces that give you gold or crates or barrels, more rewards. And some of them land in spaces that do damage to whoever you're fighting. And some of them just go towards winning the battle. It was awesome.
So that randomness doesn't detract from the game at all.
No,
it adds to it.
Yeah, I thought it was just super cool. And you go through this game, I kind of think you could almost avoid battles for the most part and still have a good chance of winning. Because if you're exploring lands, you're claiming territories, that's kind of like in Scythe, the more territories that you have control over, the more points you score at the end. Right. That's one of the scoring factors. There are a few other things that remind me of Scythe a little bit. But yeah, you start out this map. The parts of the board are different tiles that can be randomized each time you play. So you flip over the first row, and then as you sail out further from port, you explore new tiles, and they're going to be different every time. There are so many things I like about this game. The battles did not disappoint. It was not a detractor at all for me.
So I'm a little confused. Do you like this one?
I mean, yeah, it's up there. So little possible spoiler, we're going to talk about this game for our next feature review, episode 11, I think. I love it. I don't want to say too much about it. I'm excited to get it to the table with you guys and try it out. But
yeah, it looks awesome. Same designer as Mystic Vale, right?
Yes.
Same card crafting system. I've never played that one, but yeah, that intrigues me more than anything is that card crafting.
It's so cool.
That
sounds really cool.
I love sleeving cards and having a game where
they're supposed to be sleeved.
They're supposed to be sleeved.
And everybody has to adhere to that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Right?
It is a little fiddly pulling all the inserts out of the sleeve at the end of the game to get it back to its starting position again, but well worth it.
Cool. And the theme sounds awesome. So I'm excited to give this one a shot for sure.
Yeah. So
sounds awesome.
It sounds like something I'd be interested in trying. You've played Scythe with me before, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I just sit in my own little corner and
I played
build
Scythe
my
with
village.
you and you say, I don't like confrontation. And every once in a while I've been attacked by you.
Well, no,
when I thought I had a safe
there's the infamous
border.
Shadows over Camelot game as well.
I mean, I'm going to do what it takes to win in the end, but typically I like to just sort of be in my own little corner until Kevin comes at me, and then I have to
and then all bets are off, right?
I'd like to try that one.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it to the table. It's a little early to say this, but it is up there.
Here we go.
Bold statement coming.
Yep. My favorite new to me game of 2022.
Okay.
That's a short list. The only two in contention are Dead Reckoning and Imperial Steam. So, which it's going to be tough to figure out.
I'm hoping Dead Reckoning is a little better than Imperial Steam.
Imperial Steam was crunchy. It was awesome. It was amazing decisions.
I would give that one another shot, but it was a less than stellar first impression for me on that one.
It was the teach. One of the games that I've been playing lately, Dead Reckoning.
So another game I've been playing is by a designer that I feel like every episode we talk about one of his games. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
This is New Frontiers. It's designed by Tom Lehman and produced by Rio Grande Games. Mm-hmm. So this is another game that's in the Race for the Galaxy series of games. It's an action selection game. The way it works is there are a number of actions that are available to be chosen. And then in turn order, one player selects that action. They get a special bonus for doing that. They do the action, and then everybody else in turn order gets to do the same action, right? It goes for one round where everybody selects an action, and then you repeat and keep on going. It has all the same iconography that all the other games in the Race for the Galaxy series have, which makes it easier to get into if you've played those other games. It's an engine builder, like all of the other games, which is one of the reasons why I love it. I love engine builders. I feel like I'm talking about engine builders all the time, but it's just so much fun to get an engine going better than everybody else and execute and hopefully pull out the win, right? So this one, you're buying planets. A difference in this game is you have colonists that you need to colonize those planets, which is also another way that the game can end, which is different from the other games in the series. So if the colonists get down to a certain number, then that triggers the last round. If you build enough planets, that triggers the end of the game. If you build enough developments, that triggers the end of the game. So it's very much like other games in the series where it's a race to get to one of those end game conditions when you think you have enough points to win type of thing. So I think it's a really fun game. It has a table presence that's a lot bigger than the other games in the series. These massive player boards in front of you, and you put the planets around them. It's got really cool goods cubes, like some of the best goods cubes I've seen in any game. They're not just little wooden cubes, but they're actually these plastic, they look like crates type of thing,
Yeah.
I really like that the size of the crate gets bigger the more valuable the good is.
Right. So that the
did?
genes, the genes worlds and the alien.
I didn't notice that.
The little blue ones are little, brown slightly bigger.
What?
Green's bigger than that. Yellow's
I guess
the
I
biggest.
only had blues the whole night.
Oh,
that,
yeah,
I
I
had
mean,
the stinking migraine that night.
Yeah, if you play better, you get the bigger cubes.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Who won that one?
I think I won that one. But
Our BGA Online one ended today. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Neither of you won.
Oh, yeah.
who won that one?
Mark did. I
Mark
came
did.
in
Mark
second.
did?
Yeah. Well, Kevin was like half your score, I think, or half of Mark's score.
That sounds right.
Thanks for pointing that out. I mean,
kind
you
of
can't
forgot-
win every game,
I mean,
right?
I've only played this on the table once, and then we
Yeah.
started playing on BGA, which was awesome that you play a game on the table and then find out that it's on BGA.
That's the
right?
best way to do it.
Yeah,
I think.
for
You
sure.
play it, you
Absolutely.
play it in person, and then you can play it on BGA.
But
right?
I've kind of forgotten how to score points, like a little bit.
I've
And
noticed.
hey, in the last game, every time it was the development where you can buy some of those bigger developments for 9 that are worth way more points.
Yeah,
I always had 8 coins
Right.
or 8 monies, and I could never afford one of the big ones. And it was,
You could never get the discount by selecting that action, so it only cost you 8 or whatever. You're always one short, right?
Yeah. It was frustrating. But no, well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What would you say to someone whose criticism was that all these space Tom Lehman games are basically the same game with minor variations?
Well, there are similarities, right? But they're targeting a different audience, right? So Jump Drive is a
It's a filler.
10 to 20 minute game.
Yeah.
Right? It's super quick. It has strategic decisions, but it's not as meaty as New Frontiers, right? So I think all of his games have a niche, right? He designed New Frontiers to be this huge table hog that has massive player boards and these awesome components to separate it from some of the other games, right? So I think he's been very measured in his designs to make sure he's targeting different groups for all of his games. So, there's going to be similarities. And like we talked about, I think last episode, it's kind of cool that all of these games have the same iconography.
Yeah, it is
That
cool.
all of these games have the same victory point tokens, that you can get these awesome upgraded bits on Board Game Geek that you can use for all of them, right?
Yeah.
So, for sure.
So
I
each
think
one
they're
of them
different.
fills a different niche.
I am not upset that I have all of them on my my table.
Yeah.
Do you have a differing opinion, Tyler?
No, I don't. I actually really enjoy the ones that I've played. I've only played Jump Drive once, and I've only played New Frontiers once. Jump Drive's a great filler. It gives you just enough taste of that
Atmosphere.
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 Quite literally.
No, that was a tough one.
Yeah, nice. I like it. No, it gives you just enough taste of that atmosphere. I think I liked New Frontiers more than Roll for the Galaxy,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which Roll is the one I've played the most. And I think I liked the action selection more.
Yeah, I think for me, I like Roll better.
Do you?
Because I like trying to get in the minds of the other players. I just think it's so much fun when I look at somebody's tableau and I say, okay, I think they're going to produce. I'm not going to select that, but I'm going to load up dice in the produce row. I'm going to select something else I need to do, and I'm going to totally leech off of them.
Yeah.
It can completely backfire, and it has many times because that person across from me is thinking the same thing, right? They're like, oh, he knows I'm going to select produce. I'm not going to select it. I'm going to do something else, and then everybody reveals at the same time, and they're like, I think that aspect of the game, just keeps me coming back to Roll.
Okay.
I love New Frontiers though. I think it's a lot of fun, but I think in the hierarchy, that Roll's probably top for me.
I get what you're saying. I think it is a lot of fun when you guess correctly.
Right.
I haven't played Race, so I can't compare that, but do you have a favorite, Ben, of the 4?
I've only played Jump Drive and New Frontiers.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember Jump Drive, so I'm going to pick New Frontiers.
Yay!
Good choice.
And you just doubled Kevin's score on
Yeah,
PGA.
so I mean, it just comes natural to me. It's obviously my favorite.
Did he fall asleep?
I was just going to say, I was half asleep.
Is he
taking most-
playing on his phone and he clicked the wrong button a few times?
I have a beef with playing on your phone at times can be
Very frustrating.
Well, so
oh
tiny.
my gosh, it's so tiny. And there are certain games, like we have a game of So we have a game
I'm hoping you're going to say the right one.
of Seven Wonders Duel.
Yes, that game is the worst on mobile on BGA.
It's unplayable for me on my phone because I select the card and it brings up what the card is.
Yes.
It will not let me select the card. So I can't play it. It's unplayable.
Also, when you try to zoom in, it just
gets-
keeps making the card smaller.
Right.
And eventually you can zoom in far enough that you can actually see what they are a little bit better. But yeah, when I go to play a card on the phone, sorry, we're tangenting a little bit, but
This is what we do, though.
when I go to play a card on Seven Wonders Duel on BGA on my phone, I'll sit there and like tap it like 6
I
times.
do the same thing.
You have to tap it like 4 or 5 times before it'll register. Oh, do you want to construct this?
But why on like the 5th tap does it register? It doesn't make any sense, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds aggravating.
It's so
is.
much fun to play. I mean, it's such a great implementation when you're
is.
playing on a computer, but
And not that we're talking about Seven Wonders Duel, but if you haven't checked that game out, holy cow.
oh, it's awesome.
It is one of the best 2-player games out there.
Awesome.
Yeah. But that's not the game we're talking about.
No.
I think we were
We're
talking about
New
Frontiers.
Frontiers.
So, I mean, I think we've talked about New Frontiers enough, but it's a fun game. If you like the theme, if you like engine builders, it's a good one to check out. So,
Guys, I want to tell you about another game that I've been playing lately. It's called CuBirds. Have you guys heard of this game before?
I've seen it. I haven't.
I
I have never heard of it.
I had never heard of it or seen it. My uncle introduced it to me. And one thing that you may or may not know about me is I pick my board games based on how pretty they are.
I have noticed that a little bit.
You have a lot of pretty games.
They may be terrible games, but they're beautiful and I love them.
Well, if they make you happy, then that's
They
all
do.
that matters,
They
right?
do. And this game was both beautiful and really fun. So it's a simple game. It only goes about maybe 15 to 20 minutes per round. It's just quick and fun and easy. So the general concept is there are 4 rows of birds out on the table in front of everyone, and then everyone has a hand of birds. There are 8 different types of birds in the game. And the goal is to be the first one to collect either 7 out of 8 of the birds, or to be the first one to collect 2 different birds where you have 3 of that bird. And the way the gameplay goes is you choose a type of bird from your hand and you lay it down in front of you in one of the 4 rows. You can choose which row you want to lay it down on, and you have to place all of that bird that you have in your hand at once. If the bird you just played is also found on that same row somewhere else, you collect everything that was in between. So you sandwich other birds and you take the ones in between.
Oh, cool.
And then once you collect a certain number of birds in your hand of the same bird, so let's say I've got 6 of the robin in my hand, you can send the robins home. They fly the coop and they go home, and then you bank 1, and you've now got 1 robin that you banked because you sent them home 1 time.
Oh,
nice.
All right.
So
Cool.
you're playing all the cards of one type of bird down, seeing if you can sandwich other birds and collect them back. But you've just now played 4 of some other bird, so someone else is going to now sandwich them and take 4 of that one and fly the coop with them.
Right.
So it's a tricky game to figure out, how do I get what I need without giving somebody else what they need?
Setting somebody else up to.
Yeah. It's
and
quick.
looking to see what they've collected already to make sure you don't give them the same type of bird. right?
Exactly.
That type of thing.
Exactly. So it's quick, it's fun, and the birds are square. They're all the artwork is all in cubes and squares.
cool.
So that's why it's called CuBirds, because it's birds shaped like cubes.
Oh, that sounds
And
awesome.
It was just cute and funny, and it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be so fun when my uncle introduced it to me, and so
I love games like that where you maybe take a chance at the game shop, never heard of the game, bring it home, and it's awesome.
And it's a win.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's a win. That's
Yeah.
so cool. I love that.
We'll have to try that one out. Do you own it?
I've just been playing it on BGA. I don't own it.
Oh, it is on BGA.
Mhm, yep.
Cool.
I'm happy to start.
What's the like a 5-minute rule read to get going, or?
Totally.
Okay, cool. We should play it.
Any longer than that, then it's probably not going to happen.
Then we'll find a video tutorial. You can play on 2x speed.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, so one of the other games that I've been playing lately, and I got roped into this one while I was hosting a game night. A lot of our regulars weren't there, but we did have 8 or 9 people show up. And we did our first round of games. And then a few people left, and I can't leave my house, so I couldn't get out of this game. Kevin totally bailed as soon as he found out what we were playing.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't feeling great.
What is it?
That's my excuse anyway.
So you weren't here. You were, I believe, out of town.
Okay.
But Unstable Unicorns.
Oh, the never-ending game.
Yes.
Have you played this one, Ben?
Yeah, one time.
Okay.
It was a 6-player game, which I think even made it worse because in this game, you're trying to put out abilities and as many unicorns as you can. I believe for our player count, you had to get 6 out. I could be wrong on that to win the game. However, every time you place a unicorn out or place an awesome ability, there's 5 other turns before it gets back to you. Someone's stolen it, destroyed it, ripped it up, burned it, whatever. It's really hard to get some momentum going. So it was a fun play. There's a lot of take that. It just really felt like the game was never going to end. And at one point, I had 4 unicorns out. I needed to get 2 more out. You have these no cards where you can basically cancel anybody's action or cancel their cancel, right? And you can go back and forth with no cards. So I played my 5th unicorn. I had 4 no cards in my hand. I didn't think there were a lot of other no cards out because a lot had been played recently in the game. One of the guys tried to cancel my 5th one. I said no. He tried to cancel it again. I said no. Wasted a couple no's, right? Mm-hmm. Someone else attacked me before it got back to me. I had to use another no, right? So I'm down to 1, okay? If it gets back to me, I can play my 6th unicorn and win. I see the guy, it was Glenn. He draws a card, and as he's drawing it, if you're observant, sometimes you can see what people are drawing because they're carelessly flipping the card. Uh-huh. He drew the ultimate no that can't be no'd or whatever. It can't be canceled.
What?
And so I go to play
turtle shell out.
Yeah, right.
The King Under the Mountain. Card.
Unbelievable. Yes, unbelievable. So he plays his turn, and in this game, you're drawing a card and playing a card. So I go to take my turn. I've got sweet. Nobody has any no's left. I play my 6th unicorn. He slaps down that stupid indestructible no or whatever it is. And I didn't realize that's what it was. And so I played my no card and, I didn't win because I couldn't cancel his no card. The game went on forever.
Yeah.
Even after that?
Yes. And I think it was worse because it was a 6-player game and there's so many turns before it gets back to your turn. It was a fun experience. Do I ever want to play it again? No. Have you guys played any of the versions of Flux at all?
No. I was going to bring up Flux as you were talking about.
Oh, really?
That's funny. I was going to start talking about that. Yeah.
Flux is another card game. There's like 30 different versions of it, different IP versions of it, whatever. You play this card game, and to win, you have to accomplish something. But that something is constantly changing what the goal of the game is. And sometimes the game goes on forever. That's what I kept thinking of. I had worked.
That's funny.
We're remodeling our kitchen. I had worked all day Saturday. I was tired. It was getting late. This game dragged on and on and on. Eventually, one of the guys won, and I was like, okay, there's a game here. It's not one that I really want to play again.
It's funny you brought up Flux. That's exactly the game I was thinking about. Flux can be literally a minute.
Yeah.
Or it can be over an hour.
Yeah.
And when it's over an hour, I'm like, this game does not deserve to be this long. I want out of here as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
The only version of Flux that I enjoy is Monty Python Flux. Have you guys played that one?
I haven't played that one.
It's awesome.
Just does it have like quotes on the cards?
Yeah, it has quotes on the cards. You gotta, sing a song from Monty Python. Is one of the cards. I think one of the cards. You're quoting the movie nonstop, which is pretty hilarious.
Right, that's awesome.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But that's the only version of Flux I can tolerate.
Did you play Unstable Unicorns against adults?
I did. Yeah, it was 4 adults and my teenage son.
So when I played, it was me and 5 children.
Oh, wow.
Ranging in age from maybe 6 years old to about 11. And let me tell you, they have every card memorized. They automatically are counting cards without even realizing that they're doing it. And they get their feelings hurt if you are mean to them.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what my experience was like, and it took forever.
That's hilarious.
That is funny.
My Oregon friends, it was their children. I was over at their house playing it, Aaron and KJ's kids. And KJ says, "Oh, you should play this game with them," and slides it over and just laughs as she walks away. I had no idea what I was getting myself
Just put
into.
this here.
3 hours later, she's like, "Well, dinner's ready."
Oh my gosh.
That's not my favorite game, but it's worth mentioning. I'm sure there's the right crowd for it somewhere.
There's an audience out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, so that wraps up what we've been playing lately. We're now going to get into our feature review part of the episode. All right, so we're going to jump into Aeon's End with a rules summary by Kevin.
Aeon's End is designed by Kevin Riley, produced by Indie Boards and Cards, with art done by Gong Studios. The survivors of a long-ago invasion have taken refuge in the forgotten underground city of Gravehold. There, the desperate remnants of society have learned that the energy of the very breaches the beings use to attack them can be repurposed through various gems, transforming the malign energies within into beneficial spells and weapons to aid their last line of defense, the Breach Mages. Aeon's End is a cooperative game that explores the deck-building genre with a number of innovative mechanisms, including a variable turn order system that simulates the chaos of an attack, and deck management rules that require careful planning with every discarded card. Players will struggle to defend Gravehold from the Nameless and their hordes using unique abilities, powerful spells, and most importantly of all, their collective wits. Aeon's End is played over a number of rounds. Each round, the players and the Nemesis will take turns in a random order. During a player's turn, they'll be able to cast spells, acquire additional gems, relics, and spells from the supply, manipulate their spellcasting breaches, and use their unique abilities. All of the nemesis in the game are unique in the actions they take during their turns, and will require a different strategy to be defeated. All players in the game are assigned a number to start. A card for this player number, along with 2 nemesis cards, create a turn order deck. The turn order for the rest of the game is determined by the turn order deck. The deck is shuffled and the first card is flipped over. If it's a number card, that player takes a turn. If it's a nemesis card, the nemesis will take a turn. When there are no cards left in the deck, it is reshuffled and the process starts over again. A player's turn consists of 3 phases: the casting phase, the main phase, and the draw phase. During the casting phase, spells that have been prepped on a prior turn are cast. Cast spells will do damage to the nemesis and his minions. The nemesis starts the game with a certain amount of health. Damaging the nemesis with spells is one of the main ways the players will win the game. The main phase is where the meat of the player's turn takes place. There are 8 different actions that the player has. These can be taken any number of times and in any order. I won't go into detail about the actions, but they include playing gem or relic cards from your hand, gaining a card from the general supply, putting it in your discard pile, gaining a charge to use for a special ability, focusing or opening breaches, allowing you to prep spells to those breaches, resolving a while prepped effect on a prepped spell, and resolving a 2 discard effect on a nemesis card, discarding it to the nemesis discard pile. The draw phase is the last thing that a player does on their turn. During the draw phase, the player will draw up to 5 cards in hand. If the draw pile is empty, the player's discard pile is flipped over and becomes the new draw pile. Players will never shuffle their decks. If a nemesis card is turned over from the turn order deck, the nemesis will take a turn. The nemesis turn consists of a main phase and a draw phase. In the main phase, from oldest to newest, any minion or power cards in play are resolved. Effects from the minion or power cards will do various bad things to the players. Players could lose health, Gravehold could be damaged, the nemesis could unleash powerful effects, and a number of other things that hinder the players could occur. After the main phase is the draw phase. During the draw phase, 1 card is drawn from the nemesis deck. The card could be an attack, a minion, or a power card. Players continue playing until any of the following conditions are met. The players are victorious if the nemesis has no cards in its deck and no minions or powers in play at the end of any turn, or the nemesis has 0 life. The players lose if any of the following conditions are true. All players are exhausted and have 0 life, or Gravehold has 0 life. So that's how you play. Let's get back to the table and see what we thought about Aeon's End. Well, thanks, Kevin, for that rules summary.
All right, so we're going to talk first off about the production of this game. And keep in mind, for the most part, we're talking about the base game. You have one of the expansions, Kevin.
I have War Eternal, yeah. So
which it's actually could be a standalone.
It's a standalone, but it can be combined with the base game or I think any other expansions as well.
Cool.
But yeah, it's got all of its own unique cards.
What do you think about the production of this game, Kevin?
So, I think the production is great. I like the art. I don't love the art.
That's one of the things I put down.
It's good, but not great.
No wonder I never bought it.
I think that's kind of why it initially went under the radar for me until you bought it. I do think the cover is really cool, and there are individual cards and some of the graphics that are really cool.
Right, I agree.
But overall, it's not my favorite.
Right, I think there's other games that do it better as far as the art goes, but it's not enough of a detraction from me that it minimizes my enjoyment of the game at all. But it's just something that I'm like, meh, it's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Other things. So I love how this game kind of guides you into how to learn the game. So it comes with prepackaged decks that you use to play your first game, right? So there's a little bit of setup in the game. You have to know how to do it. But the first time you play, it's just you open up this pack, you lay out the cards, and you play. And I think that part of the production, I think, is really cool.
Right.
It's not an overly complicated game, but the fact that it eases you into it, I think, is a bonus. I like that a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I liked that too. One of the things that I loved about it is that once you have played, it also comes with dividers.
I was going to mention that as well.
There's a divider for spells and your relics and your starter cards and your turn order randomization. I mean, there's a divider for each nemesis that you'll play against. Yep. And I thought that was so cool. And I love that because a lot of card games, Marvel Champions or Lord of the Rings, like you have to go either make your own or go buy them on Etsy.
And it's almost unplayable if you don't have dividers.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have like this giant stack of cards. Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Right?
It makes set up and tear down just painful.
Yep.
Right. And I think the same thing would be true of this game. After your initial play, you go to set it up, and if there's not clear dividers, it would be a nightmare to set this game up.
Yeah, but with those dividers, it's really no problem at all. I mean, you find the nemesis, you have a place for the basic cards that you add to the nemesis deck.
Yeah.
You just pick out a few of those depending on player count.
Yep.
Put the deck together.
Well, and then
it's easy. Like you pick out whatever gems you want, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, and I love those randomizer cards. They have randomizers for. Hey, if you want to completely randomize what spells and relics and gems are available to you to purchase in this game, at the start of the game, I think it's, 3 gems, 2 relics, and 4 spells.
Yep.
And then you just go to those sections in the divider section and pull out those cards, and it's really simple to get going. Love that. I love those randomizer cards.
And it even has the foam that you can put in to take up space, which is awesome, right?
Because you turn it and make it longer as you're pulling more cards out. Yes.
And I've seen that in other games, and that should be in every game, right?
Yeah.
Because you can add expansions to that box if you want and just take out some of the foam pieces.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Well, and what's more frustrating than when you've taken out a bunch of cards and you have cards on both sides of where you took out, and then they fall over,
I know,
and then they fall on top of each other and get mixed up. It's like, whoa!
I know. It's happened to me many times.
Yeah. So, like I said, the art is not my favorite. I did love the dividers. The cards are nice quality, I would say.
Cards are great. I think they're really good quality.
We sleeve our games.
Yep.
They're nice cards. Anything else about the production?
Nothing else really stands out to me. It's got, cardboard chits and stuff that are completely functional. They're not over the top.
Nothing to write home about.
Yeah, but they're good.
But it doesn't really need it. I mean, I don't want to drive up the price of this game another $20, right?
And that's what I was going to say. The price point, I think, is pretty good for what you get. You
Yeah.
know, I don't think it's, there's a lot of game in there for the price, which is awesome. I think there is an upgrade pack. There's been a million expansions for this game.
Yeah,
right?
they do a Kickstarter frequently.
Right. And, I think we'll probably talk about that a little bit, but there's a lot of content. And I think some of that is an upgrade pack. So if you really want upgraded pieces, I think they're out there.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs it though.
No, I don't either. Let's move on to gameplay. What are some of the things you like about this game?
I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this because I've only played this on the app version, and I've also only played it one player. So you end up controlling all of the characters, so it's still the same number of turns that you get, but you're doing all of them. And I found the game to be very brutal. I don't know if it's because I myself am the one making decisions and I need input from someone smarter than me or whatever. But I found it to be very challenging. What did you guys think?
Well, the base game, so I played it 5 times, and on normal difficulty, I've lost 1 time. And that was playing the War Eternal expansion. And I think from what I've read, the War Eternal expansion is a little bit more difficult.
I've also read that as well.
Yeah. Not saying that the game is easy at all. Like multiple games out of the 4 that I've won came down to like the last card draw. If you flip over the Nemesis on the turn order deck, you lose. If you flip over a number, then you win, because the player's taking their turn. So it's come down to the end. But I didn't, at least from the physical version, I didn't find it overly hard on the base. Maybe you had the difficulty ratcheted up to like Nightmare or something like that.
Well, I didn't even win the tutorial, so.
Well, it is hard. Like if you're learning a game on an app, it is, I think, a lot more difficult to pick up the nuances of the game. And like you said, when you have 4 people or 3 people around a table and you're collectively all trying to figure it out, I think that's an advantage too.
Sharing ideas.
Yep. It's like I have this spell I can play. We can charge up your ability and or this, and just kind of feed off of each other that way. I think it's a big benefit.
So I've played this at every player count, and I've had 2 games that came down to either the last flip or almost the last flip, and one of them was the game that Kevin was talking about, and it was really funny. In that game, we were playing with my son Logan. And he didn't really.
His deck wasn't optimized.
No, he didn't amplify it. He was in a support role, as he said, and he was giving us charge ups, and he was charging our characters' powers and doing different things to help us out. But he did not have powerful spells, right?
Well, he had a few spells.
Yeah, he had some sparks, which he started out with, right? And he bought a couple, but we were laughing because as the game went on, we're like, okay, it's got to the point we either need to full on attack this Nemesis or we're not going to win.
Right. We can't focus on the minions anymore.
Right.
Like they're going to do what they do.
Yep.
We got to 100% focus on the Nemesis.
And so Kevin and I both have pretty powerful spells, and we're, taking off 6 to 10 or 12 damage a turn. Right. And then Logan, every time it's his turn, he's doing the little 1-point spark damage. Pew, 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 pew. But it almost came up. So it came down to the last card. It came down to the last round. Right.
Yeah.
And there was a chance that if Logan's card would have been drawn in a different order, his last spark
would have killed it.
And Kevin and I realized that at the same time, and we were just like, spark! It was awesome. It turned out he went first, and then it came down to if Kevin's card got flipped for turn order, we would win.
Or the wild card, because we were playing with 3.
Or the wild card.
Yep.
If I would have gotten flipped, we wouldn't have lost, but we still would have needed 1 more card. If the Nemesis card we got flipped, we would have lost. And Kevin's card came up, I think it was your card.
It was either that or the wild. I don't remember.
And it was just a cheering moment, yeah, we did it. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, right? I mean, that was my first game of it. I've had a couple of games that were not challenging at all. We played at 4-player the other night with some family that was visiting, and it was not
tension wasn't there.
No, I mean, there were a couple moments early on, but you always feel like you're kind of behind the game at the beginning.
Right.
After a certain point, I mean, we blew through it, and we actually played through the whole Nemesis deck, which is one of the ways to win.
Oh, you've won it that way?
Yeah,
I've never won it that way.
It got to a point where it's like, okay, let's just keep attacking the minions when they come up, and let's try and survive this deck. And I had never won that way either, but we were able to do it, which I thought was cool.
That's cool.
Because I wasn't sure that how feasible that was, right?
Because the way that deck is stacked, you get harder and harder minions and power cards and attacks as you get deeper in that deck, right?
Yeah. It did get a little bit, I just never felt like Gravehold's health got a little low, but we were never really in danger of losing it. So It was fun. I played solo last night, and solo where I'm just controlling one character. I chose a character that could heal herself, which I had to have. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stood a chance in this game. And it came down to the last. I won, and then just to see what would have happened, I flipped the Nemesis card and did his thing, and I ended up with 1 life left. So it was almost the last flip.
Yeah. So this game does 2 things that I just think are awesome, right? And one of those is the turn order. So the turn order is just super interesting, right? And it scales from 2 to 4 players, just awesome, I think. And in 2 players, each player has 2 cards per round. When their card comes up, they take their turn. And then there's 2 Nemesis cards. In 3 players, everybody has a number, and then there's a wild card. And when that wild card comes up, everybody collectively chooses who takes that turn. That makes some super interesting decisions, strategic decisions on who's going to take a double turn in that round. And then with 4 players, everybody has their turn order card that comes up. It adds like we talked about the game that we played. It adds, an element to the game of excitement. You don't know who's going to flip over. Every time that card flips over and it's your number, you're like, oh yeah, it's my turn. That's awesome. It's like you're surprised every time it's your turn. And it's just kind of a cool feeling. When you're in a 2-player game, when you get a double turn and you can play one right after the next, you're like, this is awesome. I just prepped this spell and I'm going to cast it right away, do all this damage. It's just a good feeling. Yeah. And that uncertainty of when the Nemesis is going to come up, I just think adds a ton to the game.
Oh, that's awesome. I played a 2-player game with Logan, and I actually got 2 turns in a row at the end of the round. And then my 2 cards came up.
Oh, it's awesome.
At the start of the next round. So I had 4 turns around, which, I mean, maybe I need to shuffle better. But it was awesome. But then we also had one round where the 2 Nemesis cards came up, and then the start of the next round, it came up. One of them came up again. So there were 3 Nemesis turns in a row, and I was almost killed off. My character was almost exhausted by that. But it was.
You realize you're not just supposed to turn over the turn.
Yes.
Like,
I realize that's one of the things
you
that you shuffle,
it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Which did you talk about the?
No, I was going to, but you can if you want.
No, go for it.
Yeah, the second thing that's just blew my mind, and I don't know why this hasn't been thought of before. Maybe it's in other games, but typically in a deck builder, when your draw pile ends, you take your discard pile and you shuffle it up, and it becomes your new draw pile. In this game, you just take your discard pile, flip it over, and it becomes your new draw pile. So this is awesome for 2 reasons. One reason is shuffling in a deck builder can be kind of tedious, right? Especially early in the game when you have maybe 10, 12 cards in your deck. You're burning through that deck pretty quick. You're shuffling like mad.
Over and over again.
We're not going to talk about the wear and tear it does on your cards or your card sleeves.
You better sleeve those.
You better sleeve those cards.
Side shuffle.
But another thing is, and the more important thing obviously, is how you discard your cards becomes super important. What you discard first is going to come sooner when you flip that over. And, putting cards together can be really meaningful in the game. There's a card called a diamond cluster that says it's a gem. And when you get those 2 cards together, it adds more to your gem value, your Aether value, I think is what the currency is in the game, right? So you want to get those together. So being able to get those discards where you want them, to get those cards together adds another, it adds more strategic depth to the game, which I think is just awesome.
I only had 1 diamond card. Perhaps that's where I went wrong.
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
I don't know if I lost one while I sleeved or if I'm just missing one, but I'm missing a diamond cluster card. And I've gone through the deck, like, each divider section like 3 times. I've looked for double sleeved cards. I cannot find it. So to counter that,
Right.
if I draw the diamond cluster with the randomizer card, I just use the randomizer card.
That's what I was going to
But it kills me a little bit to know that I just got this game, I just sleeved it, and I'm
Could it have not been included? Or did you count it first?
I didn't count it first. I just open up a pack and start sleeving.
Yeah.
And maybe maybe it'll turn up somewhere. Maybe it is double sleeved or 2 cards are sleeved together. But I don't think
if you message Indie Board and Cards, they may send you.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably a customer error, so I'm not going to reach out. And especially because I've got the randomizer card that I can use in place of it. So there is something that I love about this game. Okay, it's a cooperative game. You're playing against the Nemesis. In this game, I feel like the upkeep of the Nemesis isn't difficult at all. I feel like it's really simple to do the Nemesis turns and then move on to your turn or whoever's turn it is next. Whereas in other games like Marvel Champions, I feel like sometimes that drags a little bit when the villain that you're fighting against and all of his minions are attacking. It drags and there's a lot of upkeep. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, yep.
Card game, you need a player aid for the flowchart player aid of whose turn it is to do what next. I mean, that game has a learning curve to it. And until you get it down, you're constantly checking the flowchart of, okay, what's next? It's
got a pretty good payoff once you figure that out. But it's a lot.
Yeah, it is
a lot. Yeah.
And like you said, once you learn all those steps and the intricacies of it, it's an awesome game.
Yeah, for sure.
But this one, you put it out on the table, and after like 2 or 3 rounds, it's like, I've got this for good. There's nothing confusing about this. The Nemesis turns are quick. Each player's turns are quick. I feel like the flow of the game is it's really great for a cooperative game that can be used to introduce non-gamers to the hobby. I think it's a good environment for that, or creates a good environment for that.
Yep, I completely agree. And even if the Nemesis adds, because a lot of them have a separate deck, even adding a separate deck is straightforward. Yeah. There's an unleash keyword, and when that keyword triggers, you do something.
You do a very specific action. You know exactly what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is, and this is another thing that I like about the game. It's varied. So each Nemesis plays completely different. They have their own Nemesis deck, which you sprinkle in some basic cards in there as well that you're going to see across every Nemesis. But they have unique cards that play completely different. And there's ways that the Nemesis wins that are different, and it just switches up the whole feel of the game and how the game plays. And I just think that's awesome. And also the breach mages, like who you are, you have your special ability that's unique, right? Yeah. That you can, and I think that's when you're most successful in the game is when you're able to use your special ability and everybody else's special ability around the table most effectively. Yeah. That really gives you, a better chance of winning. I think that's cool. It makes you feel like you have your own special power, which I always love those unique player abilities in games.
Well, and the game experience is completely different if you have lots of cards that you can buy that allow you to destroy cards and remove cards from your deck, or if there's lots of cards, or there are cards that help you charge your power faster, or if there's cards that heal you, or if they're not there, then it's a completely different game based on that variability and setup and what's available to you.
Yeah, and it changes how you play. So if there's nothing that will heal people in the game, that's going to change how you play, or it should change how you play the game. Yeah. If it doesn't, then maybe you'll be out pretty soon, right?
The game that we played where we won by lasting through the Nemesis deck, our most powerful spell was a 4 or a 5, I think.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like, we can't do a lot of damage here. Yeah. So let's just try to survive the deck. So yeah, it makes each game different based on what shows up in those 9 cards that are available.
Yeah, and you mentioned the randomizer cards. That's in Dominion, and that's the only way we play Dominion is by just completely randomizing everything.
Yeah.
Maybe not all 10 expansions.
You have like 150 randomizer cards.
I know we have a lot, but that's the fun way to play. And it's the same with this game, right? It's like, I think that's the way to do it because you get a completely
use the Dewey
different
Decimal System to find those cards.
I get my abacus out. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's funny. The randomizer deck that I have in Dominion is probably like 8 inches tall. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous at this point. But playing in a random setups, it's going to give you a fresh game every time you play. And there are a million expansions to this game. So
there's no shortage of content.
You can explore. There's legacy versions that I haven't played that I want to play.
I just ordered another. I think it was more of a campaign one. Yeah, Outcasts, I believe.
Yep.
I just ordered that. So
that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
but you get all the more cards to the pool, more randomizers, that you can throw in there. I think that's just a fun way to play.
All right, so we obviously are excited about this game, and we like it. What are some of the things that we dislike about Aeon's End?
Yeah, I thought about this for a while. There's not a whole lot that I dislike about this game. The fact that I like my co-ops I like to lose more than I win. Which
weird.
That is weird.
Is that sadistic? What's the word?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. So because when I win, I want it to mean more, right? I remember when I started playing Pandemic with my wife, it took us a while to figure it out, to start winning. And then we started winning. We're like, oh, this is cool. And then we would increase the difficulty by putting in more of those epidemic cards. And then we got to where we're putting in all the epidemic cards. We're just getting destroyed. Yes. But it was awesome because we would almost win. We're like, no. And then we'd have to, set it up again and play immediately again until we won. And then when we finally won, it was just this awesome, we beat this game on the highest difficulty.
Yeah. Now we never have to play it again.
Right. Well, not quite, but but in this one, I've played it 5 times and won 4 times. I kind of want it to be a little bit harder, but I have not increased the difficulty, and there is a way to do that. Yep. So that's partly on me, So I need to increase that difficulty a little bit more and experiment a little bit more with it. So very small. It's probably not even a complaint because I haven't increased the difficulty myself, but that's the only thing I could think of.
Well, it sounds like you need to jump in on Ben's app game.
I need to get on the app,
this has been very interesting because I had no idea that there was a heal card. That was not in my game.
Oh, that's awesome.
That I had. Nope, that was not a thing.
I feel like you need at least one person that either has the ability or their starter card to heal.
Yeah.
Or there needs to be some card out there that you can get to heal.
And what kind of spell goes up beyond 4? Nope.
There's ones that are 7s
and there's ones that get boosted by other cards or adjacent spells. And I think we had in our game, we were doing like 10 damage at a time with one spell.
No, I was over with the pea shooter.
Pew pew.
Couple points at a time. So I definitely need to try again and see if I can get a different combination.
Yeah.
There is a really cool balance there though of like, okay, I need to buy some gems so I can buy more powerful cards faster.
Right.
But I also need to defend against minions, but I also need to open up my breaches so I can do more spell attacks. And I feel like you gradually shift what you're doing over the course of the game. But that's not a dislike.
Or do I do? Oh, we're back into the likes again. Yeah. We must like this game.
We do.
Yeah. Or do you buy cards that let you thin your deck and trash cards?
Right.
Do you get those first because there's a lot of interesting decisions.
Well, there's the one spell, or you can trash up to 2 cards to do 3 damage each for those cards. So 6 total. You use that a few times and then you're down to a hand of like 5 cards, which can be good, but then that card itself becomes useless, right? You don't really want to use it anymore. So I don't know. It's just, we're back to liking stuff.
Yeah. And the fact that my only dislike was that the game needs to be harder and there is a mechanism in the game to make it harder means I don't really have a dislike for this game.
I played 4 times, 1 at each player count. I don't know that sample size is big enough.
Right.
Maybe it's like Lord of the Rings, where one game you set it up and you just get wrecked in the first few rounds. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's listeners who are, have played a lot of Aeon's and they're like, hey, dummies, go get this expansion. It'll destroy you,
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm sure there's other expansions out there that make it a little bit more difficult. We've barely explored Aeon's End, so I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff out there that increase the difficulty. And I don't know if you've noticed, but each nemesis has a difficulty rating,
Yep.
right? So if you want to make a harder game, then you're going to obviously put in the harder nemesis and, increase the difficulty like it suggests if you really want to get destroyed, I'm sure.
What does it suggest? That the nemesis takes more turns or something?
One of them that we played when it was Tyler and his son, it was something Glutton's guy. Anyway, he was eating.
Mr. Gluttons.
Yeah, he was eating
I don't know.
the supply piles, right? To make it harder, he would have devoured more of the supply piles to start the game, which would have killed us.
We wouldn't have stood a chance.
We wouldn't have, because that game came down to if he would have unleashed one more time and devoured the supply piles, we would have lost.
Yep.
If we would have started off with less cards, no chance.
Yeah.
So
I can't really complain that the game's too easy when there's
no.
It sounds like there's a lot to explore with it.
yeah.
Yeah, there really is. There's a lot of variability. We're back to the things we like about the game again. But
Great replayability.
There is tons of replayability in this game. Absolutely.
Well, if there's nothing else that we can think of that we dislike about this game, maybe we should give our final ratings of it.
Yeah, I think we should.
Would you like to go first with your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, no surprise. I like the game. It's going to be a good rating for sure. I played this game. My brother-in-law, Matt, brought it over. We played it 3 times in one day. I made the bold statement that I think it could be my favorite deck builder. Which is pretty crazy because, I've talked about Dominion before in this podcast. I love Dominion. I have all the expansions. This one I think I'm enjoying now more than Dominion for all the reasons that we've talked about. The variability, the excitement of the turn order deck, the no shuffling, that whole concept of you just take your discard pile and flip it over. That's awesome. The tension of, I feel like I'm being destroyed in this game and somehow I'm able with the help of all of my teammates, turn it around and win with one card flip at the end. Like that excitement, the fact that game allows that kind of experience just is awesome to me. I love it. So, no surprise. I think this one is a 5 for me. 5 out of 5.
Nice.
That's my final rating.
Ben, you have one app play under your belt.
I have one app play.
Which, hey, that gives you a different perspective.
That's right.
It does. I think I'll tailor my review based on potential that I feel with the game, because I feel excited to try it again. I feel excited to try with other humans. I feel excited to explore more about the game. It seems really fun. It seemed really interesting. The mechanics were cool of not shuffling your deck, that kind of thing, and trying to think through how do I put my cards away in a certain order that'll work well next time. I'm really excited to play it again. I want to get to the table with you guys with it sometime. So for me, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. So we talked about a lot of things that we liked about this game, right? I love the turn order randomization. I love that you don't shuffle your deck when, you cycle it. I love the randomization and the different starter cards. I love that this is a great game to play alongside non-hobby gamers to try and get them to become or take those first steps into the hobby gaming world, right? We played with my niece, and she's in 6th grade. And, at first we had to help her along. They play, really small card games, not a gamer at all, right? But by the end of the game, she was taking her own turns. And I thought that was super cool. I thought it's a great cooperative game to put in front of people to get them into the hobby. It's created a lot of fun experiences, we've talked about a couple cheer out loud moments that this game has created. I really, really like this game. I don't love it.
But you just bought an expansion.
I did just buy an expansion, but that I don't have to love something to buy it, right? We've thrown that out the window a long time ago, and
Right.
I've made way too many purchases of games because they were on sale, right? Whatever. I really, really like it. I don't have anything super negative to say about it, but I don't love it. It's just, maybe it's because I felt like it is a little too easy. Again, we could make it more difficult. I'm excited to explore some of the additional content, some of the standalone games that we have, maybe try eventually one of the legacy games. I'm excited to, get some of the expansion decks. It's a good game, and there's lots of campaign and story to explore there. I'm excited for that. For me, I'm just going to stick with I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So
It's a good score, though.
it is. It's a great.
solid game.
It's still a good score. Yeah, It's a solid game. I would not turn this down if it showed up at game night and this is on the table. I would be excited about it. So I really enjoy playing it. I look forward to getting it to the table more. It's a 4 out of 5 for me. 4 now.
I talked this one up quite a bit, and my fear was that everybody was going to play it and be like, "Oh, this game's terrible."
That's always a fear, right?
I know. So the fact that it's a 4 is good. That's awesome.
I talked up Imperial Steam, and then everybody hated it, and it was like,
I don't know if
I
Ben
felt
hated it.
bad for wasting everybody's
Didn't
time.
I win?
No, I did.
No, Tyler.
You and I were.
Shocker, he taught the game and won.
Oh, geez.
Is that the one where we doubled Tyson's score
Oh, you doubled
Yeah.
my score
by like
too.
300
we
or something?
tripled it.
Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah. No.
You like that one.
Yeah. No.
But yeah,
It's always rough when you teach a game and you're excited about it, and then people aren't as excited about
It doesn't
the
land with them.
yeah.
I did not get that when you taught this game to Logan and I, and we played. The first play was awesome, and I think I immediately ordered it after that night, which I thought I had gotten away from, but apparently I'm back to that. But no, so yeah, it's a great game. That wraps up our feature review of Aeon's End. Before we close out this episode, let's talk about some of the things that we're excited about. What's going on in your world, Ben? What are you excited about?
Does this have to be board game related, or can it be
No,
anything I'm
whatever you
excited
want.
about?
It's kind of turned into whatever.
Yeah, we
Okay.
started out the first couple episodes what we were excited about, board gaming.
I like just talking about what we're excited about.
I am very excited that my first flowers have bloomed in my garden.
Oh, it's awesome.
It means spring is almost here. Well, spring is here, I guess, technically. But
Yeah, but
warmer weather is coming.
It takes a little longer for spring to get here in Colorado.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And we always get the obligatory
Mother's Day snowstorm.
Mother Day's snow blizzard or
Yeah.
blizzard.
Snowpocalypse.
We still haven't had that yet, but
Yeah, we
it's
still got
coming.
another month, right?
But my daffodils are in bloom. They are yellow. They are beautiful.
That's
My
awesome.
irises are coming up. They'll be here any day now.
Do you have any tulipin?
Did you say tulips?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I do. So I have a daffodil in the middle, irises on the side, then tulips on the side of that. Those are my first flowers that come up every year.
Nice.
I actually just planted them 2 years ago, and last year they didn't come up because we had a strange weather pattern. And so I actually thought they were dead. So it's very exciting to me that this year they are all alive and they're all on their way.
Awesome.
That's cool. I love it.
And it's starting.
I love this time of year. It's exciting when the weather starts to warm up. Hockey playoffs are right around the corner.
The Avs are doing awesome. That's not your team, but
I went to a
love
game
the
of theirs
Avs.
this weekend. on Thursday.
I'm not an Avs fan right now because the Penguins just lost to them.
That game was awesome.
And then they play again tomorrow in Pittsburgh. So they did a home and home.
Yep.
But I cheer for the Avs when they're not playing the Penguins or when they're not playing Fleury. So
They're
Which-
well, and they're both doing well this
Ooh.
year. The Avs and the Penguins are doing well.
Yep. The Avs have a bitter hatred for the Wild. There is a pretty good rivalry there.
Right.
And now Fleury got picked up or traded to the Wild from Chicago. And if they meet up in the playoffs, which there's a good chance that they will, a piece of me is going to die.
Well,
but I'm
you're
cheering
only a
for
Fleury
Fleury.
fan because he was a Penguin.
He was our goalie for like 13 years.
and then he felt he was kind of wronged.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's 3-time Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah.
I don't know. We love Fleury in this house. So I'm excited for hockey playoffs. Springtime's awesome. Get out, get some golfing in. I don't know. It's just Colorado is so beautiful. It's a little bit easier to get up into the mountains, go on hikes. And I mean, there's the snow sports, right? But getting up into the mountains in the springtime is awesome.
Yeah, that kind of goes along with one of the things I'm excited about is the warmer weather. And I'm a big mountain biker. I love getting out and riding my bike. I'm lucky enough to have trails that are right outside my door, which is awesome. So I've got 17 miles of trails I can go out and just play on. I've ridden those trails literally hundreds of times, and I'm so excited to get out on them again now that it's drying out. And then also to explore. We live on the Front Range. There's mountains right next to us, and there's all kinds of exploring that I'm excited to do this next year. So it's getting warm. I'm not a big skier. I don't like the cold. I don't know why I live here then, I guess.
Which is funny because, I mean, you and I both grew up in Utah, right?
Yeah, which is basically the other side of the mountains, right? It's the same climate.
And I skied all through high school. But
did you?
I've been like twice since. So
yeah, and I skied a little bit growing up. People are always like, "You're from Utah and you don't ski."
Do you ski, Ben?
No, I break legs. Yes, that's right. It's best I don't attempt that. I grew up in Arizona anyway.
Yeah, not a whole lot of skiing there.
One of the things I'm excited about is we've been remodeling our kitchen, and it seems like we've been able to save a lot of money by doing it ourselves, but it's also a lot more stressful and time consuming. But we're painting our cabinets right now. We extended our island. We're going to get new countertops here in a week or so. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to install a new floor on our main floor after we're done painting. I'm just excited. Like it's going to feel like a new house when we walk in. And we moved into this house 7.5 years ago. There was orange paint and brown and yellow, mustard yellow paint everywhere. I mean, we've completely changed this house. We finished the basement. We love it, but we've kind of put off redoing our tile countertops. We've tore that all out. We're getting new countertops, finishing up the kitchen. It's going to be an awesome living space to go with our basement that we finished. So,
cool.
That's always exciting. It's
looking
fresh feel.
It's looking good.
Yeah. So we'll get there eventually.
You got anything else, Ben, you're excited about?
Sure. I officially booked my tickets and hotel room to go to the Dice Tower Retreat in September.
Nice.
Awesome.
Have you guys ever been to that?
Never been.
Yeah, so it's fun because it's not a convention, so there's no vendors or displays or demos or anything like that. It's just board game for 4 or 5 days straight. Anyone that's there, the room is open 24 hours a day. There's a massive library. Yeah, you just grab what you want,
huge library. Yeah,
play as many hours in a day as you want. Yeah. So
is this your third year going?
It'll be my fourth.
Ooh, awesome.
Wow.
That's really believe cool. So.
Have you ever thought about going on the cruise, the Dice Tower cruise?
I've thought about it. Aaron and KJ, my Oregon friends, they don't want to go on the cruise because if they're on a cruise, they want to be cruising and not board gaming.
Board gaming, yeah.
So
they're not very dedicated then.
So I don't have them bought into
Priorities are all out of whack.
Yeah.
But I would definitely do the cruise if I had someone who wanted to go with me.
Yeah. No,
awesome.
I've thought about it. I think maybe in a few years I might be interested in going, but it's not the right time for us now. But the three of us, I don't think we've talked about this.
Oh, that's another thing I'm excited about, for sure.
We're all going to Origins this year.
This will be my first convention.
Me too.
My first gaming convention, yeah.
All of us, first timers. This is going to be.
I've been to the retreat, but never a convention.
So when we're wandering around lost, looking like idiots, wearing our longest turn shirts.
Yeah. Point us in the right direction.
Yeah. Help us figure out what to do, where to go.
Right.
What to eat. I don't know.
It may be an overwhelming experience, right?
But it's going to be awesome.
So much board game stuff.
Yeah.
My head might just explode. I don't know. It sounds amazing. It sounds awesome.
I'm going to plan on maybe a trip to like UPS so I can ship some games home so I don't have to bring them home in luggage. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully there'll be a lot of new releases there. I'm excited. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. That's going to be great. Last thing I'm excited for is Surprise, surprise. Another Dominion expansion.
Oh, is there another one?
There is another one, Dominion Allies. And it just showed up at our local game shop.
Oh.
I don't know if there's a copy there. Actually, I'm not getting it from our local game shop. It's coming in the mail on Wednesday. I forgot that we had ordered it because I figured the gas to get to the game shop is probably going to be more expensive than me just paying full price for it off of Amazon, So that's what I ended up doing. But that comes Wednesday. I'm going to play it on Sunday over FaceTime with my brother-in-law, Matt.
So did he order a copy too? He
ordered a copy. We were playing games last night and we both ordered it at the same time. Mine's coming on Wednesday. His is coming on Thursday.
That's awesome.
I'm really excited. I'm going to beat him.
And it's
and I'm going to get it first. So.
And is there anything significantly different, or it's just a whole new deck of?
So this is, I don't even know. I haven't done any research.
Bought it sight unseen.
Oh, sounds like me.
Absolutely. No, I don't know, and I don't care. Each expansion adds something different.
Yeah.
There'll be a new mechanic in there that they haven't done before, but it'll just be fun to explore all the different cards like we've done for the past. We're going on 14 years that this game's been out.
Yeah.
So,
is it?
It's kind of a ritual for us to get a new Dominion expansion and play through it. So it's awesome.
Dominion Allies, right?
Yep, Dominion Allies.
So does that make it cooperative?
I don't think so. That's a big switch for Dominion, but hey, maybe.
That would be kind of cool. No, I don't know that would work. I don't think that would work.
I'd take a little bit of a rework there.
Yeah, I think you'd lose the essence of what makes that game great in trying to make that a cooperative game.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to laugh at it if it is a cooperative expansion.
I will report later on what exactly it is.
Awesome. All right, so that about wraps up this episode 9, Aeon's End. We appreciate you joining and listening to our thoughts on Aeon's End. Hopefully, if you haven't checked that game out, we piqued your interest at the very least. We also do a blog on BGG that you're welcome to check out. We go into other games that we've been playing and other in-depth blog posts about board gaming. You can check us out on Instagram. And if you want to join our guild on BGG, it is guild number 3947. If you enjoy listening to us, please take a moment to write us a good review on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or wherever you consume our content. We would appreciate that as we try to grow.
Please subscribe.
Ben, thanks for joining us.
It was awesome having you here, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
It was great.
We definitely need to do this again when Tyson's gone or when Kevin's gone.
Yeah.
Or maybe even we'll get another mic at some point.
We might need to.
So that'd be awesome.
We appreciate you filling in, and this is The Longest Turn. We are out. Thank you for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
Tot ziens.
Hey, då.
Are you done talking about this game? No. Can I talk about it?
You could talk about this game.
How do I say this? What do I say? Help me out. We're going to kick that. We're going to kick off. Blah. What do I want to say?
Do you want to call Tyson?
Let's kick off our discussion with a rules summary. Why are you laughing at me?
I don't know what you're doing.
Let's kick off
with a rule.
The voice of Eeyore is the same guy who's the voice of Optimus Prime.
What?
And if you look at his credits on like IMDb, it's Optimus Prime, Eeyore, Optimus Prime, Eeyore, Optimus Prime.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It really helps get me in the rules summary mood.
Do you want me to thank you?
Tyler, do you thank me as well?
I do thank you. Thanks, Kevin, for that rules summary.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, Kevin, for that rules summary.
Oh, you're welcome. All of the nemesises. Nemesis? Dang it.
That also wraps up the things that we're excited about. This about wraps up the things that we're excited about. Eggs, back to back to back.
Are you on skip? Do we need to reset the needle?
All right, so that about wraps up this episode. We appreciate you joining for it. Nope.
joining us.